Hello everyone, welcome to Skills Build Training YouTube channel. Myself Mohammad Zubair, and this channel is all about showing you how to become a highly paid IT pro really fast. So the topic of today's video is Azure Active Directory tutorial for help desk and tech support. So without any further ado, let's get started. This video is going to be really exciting as you will have everything related to Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is also known as Azure AD. There are some troubleshooting scenarios where help desk and tech support can come up with, like permission for team members to access their Azure Active Directory accounts, the permission of resources to members as per their hierarchy, the organization of some everyday tasks like resetting the credentials for the members, the domain name is not configured correctly, linked mailbox issues, etc. And some other troubleshooting scenarios where the help desk and staff members might need to troubleshoot the system. So Azure Active Directory also helps in all those aspects to help desk and tech supports users. With the help of Azure AD, the administrators can handle multiple user logins at one time without any issue. Administrators need to assign a single username and password to access all the services at any time they want. If we talk about the Azure AD itself, Azure Active Directory is a service from Microsoft, and it is identity management, multi-tenant, cloud-based directory service. Azure AD helps the employees sign up to multiple services and access them anywhere over the cloud for any organization. All they need is a single set of login credentials. When you are in your organization and you use services like Skype, OneDrive or Outlook, or your organization have Office or Microsoft 365 services, you are using the Azure Active Directory already to access any of those services. So, if I talk about the definition of Azure Active Directory, it is Microsoft multi-tenant cloud-based directory and identity management service which combines core directory services, application access management, and identity protection into a single solution. Here, we need to understand the identity first. Identity is a unique thing that is different for everyone. And it is just like the national identity card number, which is unique for every person. That person can be authenticated based on their identity number. In the world of web or computer, we identify to verify if the person requesting something from the server is actually the same person they claim to be. In the world of web and computer, identity is composed of username and password. Username is always a unique one-for-one platform, or identity can be a service with certificate to authenticate the user. Now let's see how it works. First of all, a user sends a request to the server with their credentials, which can be username and password. The server communicates with the database to ensure that the coming username and password are correct, and thus the identity is correct. If that is the case, the server returns the result to the user, and this approach was the traditional one as almost every application and website used to manage its user database. But it had some challenges to cope up with. Like there was a lot of money involved in implementing the user database security feature, and it was time consuming too. Apart from that, if a user needs to access more than one service, they need to remember more than one set of credentials for every service to access. And last but not the least, this is the most severe of them, and that is the risk of breach of data. There were great chances that user databases could be compromised, and that could lead to data leakage, which can be very dangerous. So now, let's talk about who uses this service. The first one is IT administrator. They can access many applications and services with single credential and do not have to remember the credential for every service. The second type of people or second type of users are application developer. Application developers have access to many services and softwares, and they can focus on the development side as the sign-on becomes more accessible due to many resources. Online customers. People know that we have Office 365 and CRM services, and we have access to them by using the Windows AD. But Azure also gives access to these services, which means if you have an account on any of these, you can access any of the services from the Azure Active Directory. We have different editions of Azure directories. The first one is Azure Active Directory Free. It provides user and group management, on-premises directory synchronization, self-service password change for cloud users, basic reports, and single sign-on across Azure, Microsoft 365, and many popular SaaS apps. The second one is Azure Active Directory Premium P1. Along with the free features, P1 lets your hybrid users access both on-premises and cloud resources. It also supports advanced administration such as dynamic groups, self-service group management, and many things like that. The third one is Azure Active Directory Premium 2. P2 also offers Azure Active Directory identity protection to help provide risk-based conditional access to your apps and critical company data. The last edition of Azure Active Directory is Pay As You Go. You can also get additional feature licenses such as Azure Active Directory Business to Customer, that we also call as B2C. So B2C can help you provide identity and access management solutions for your customer-facing apps. So that was all about the Azure Active Directory, and now let's have a demo of this tool. This is the dashboard of Azure Active Directory, and I am logged in. Here we have different services from the Azure Active Directory that we can access. And if I scroll further down, here we have more things, like we have different tools, and here we have some resources and some groups that we can create. The very important and very prominent feature of Azure Active Directory dashboard is this search bar. You can search anything related to Azure Active Directory in this one. For example, if I just write here Azure Active, it has given the Azure Active Directory option down here. So you can search for any tool, any service, anything related to Azure Active Directory in this search bar, and you will have everything as a result. I will just click on this Azure Active Directory and let's move ahead. So this is the overview of my Azure Active Directory at the moment, and on the left panel we have multiple services from Azure for a lot of resource management and configuration. Like the first one is users, then we have groups, and then we have many other things. First of all, I'll click on users. In here, we will have all the information about all the users that are the part of my organization. I only have 2 users at the moment. From here, you can delete a particular user, you can create a new guest user, or you can create a new user. You can do all these things very easily. In order to delete a particular user, just select that one, and from here, just delete that particular user. Right now, I want to show you that how you can create a user as you are the admin of your Azure Active Directory. To do so, just click on this button that says New User, and it will open a new window in front of you. So from here, you can either create a user or you can invite someone. I'm going to create one. So here I will give the username, I will give it as skills build. Down here we need to give the name to this user. I will again write here skills build. You can name it anything. Then we have to give first name and last name. I will write here skills. For the last name, I will write here build. After, if we scroll down, here we have the password option. Either you can go with the auto-generated one or you can create your own. I will create my own custom one. So I will just enter the password here, and after that you can define the roles and groups related to that particular user, and you have different other things that you can perform I will leave everything else as it is and I will just click on create. So here we have a message that says successfully created user, and this is the name of that user. And we also have that user in here. Now I will just click on this user and let's see what do we have related to this user. Now this is the name of user, and if you see here, the username is skillsbuild@zmohammed672gmail.ownmicrosoft.com. It means this user is a part of this user. Basically, this user is a tenant of this user. It cannot do anything on its own until and unless the privileges are given by this user, which is admin of this Azure Active Directory. I'll show you some more things related to this user to make things more clear. So I will just copy this username, and now I will log in into my Azure Active Directory with this user. So I will just click on it, and from here I'll go sign in with different account. Here I will use another account, and here I will enter the username that I have just copied. Click on next, and now I need to give the password. So I will just enter the password in here, click on sign in or hit enter, and here it is asking us to update our password. So give the password that you have just created in one of the previous steps, and after that create a new one. So I will just create a new one, and after that we are good to go, and I'll show you what it is. So I will just click on sign in. So this is the dashboard for my newly created user, and we are into overview section. If I go into my user section, it will load and it will take a little bit of time. And here you can see we have all the users that we had as a default. This is the one that we just created. But the difference is, if you see, we cannot create any new user or we cannot delete anyone as well, because this user, which is skills build, do not have any privileges like that, because the admin or the super user have not given it any privileges like that. So this is how admin or super user can create different user into Azure Active Directory and assign different privileges to them. Let's say you still want to have some privileges in it and you want to have some resources as a part of Azure Active Directory. So as you can see, we are logged in with the username of skills build. And now I'll show you that how this user can create its own resource. Well, to do so, click on this option, and from here, click on this option that says create a resource. And now I will create a new resource, and we will be able to use that resource just like any super user or any admin, because we are creating this resource particularly for this particular user. I will just search for Azure Active Directory. So here it is. I will just click on it. So here we have the resource. I will just click on create. Here, as you can see, it says tenant type, and we have to select one. At the moment, I am going with Azure Active Directory because Azure Active Directory B2C is the option that is only available for the paid account. After that, I will click on next and configuration. So from here, you have to give organization name for your resource. Let's say I will write here skills build YouTube, and now here we have to give the initial domain name. I will copy this name, that is our organization name, and I will paste it, and I will just add here training. And after that, we need to select the region or country. For that, I'll go with Canada. Here it is. I will just select it, and now I will click on next, review and create. So we are good to go here because validation has passed. So I will just click on create. Now a resource is creating at the moment. It will take a little bit of time to get the process done. Either you can wait for it, or what you can do, you can log out and you can re-sign in with same username, and your resource will get created immediately. I will write the captcha here and I will submit it, and here it says tenant creation in progress. This will take a few minutes, so we can wait for it or we can re-sign in with the same username. I will re-sign in with the same username. As you can see here, it says switch directory. It means if you just click on it, you will be able to use this created resource, but at the moment it is not created, so it will not work. So I will just come down and I will click on sign in with a different account. So here I will again sign in with this account. I will just click on it. So we are done re-signing in. Here we have a notification. If you just click on it, here it says no subscription, because we did not have any subscription till now and we do not need it as well. So do not worry about this message, because when you will re-sign in, it will show you this message. So do not worry about this one. And now just click on your username. From here, click on switch directory. And here we have two directories. First one is default directory, and this is the resource, if you remember, we just created. And this is the domain name, that is skillsbuildyoutube.training.ownmicrosoft.com. So obviously we want to use this resource, so in that order I will just click on this button, and now we will be logged in, or you can say we will be using this resource and we will have all those privileges that the admin had earlier, because now we are the admin of this resource. That is why we will be able to use this one. We will wait for it and let it load, and then we'll move ahead. So here we are using the resource, and now this time if I search for Azure Active Directory, here it is. So I'll just open it, and now this time if I click on my users, and here you can see we have the name of user as skillsbuild@zmuhammad, and then we have different other information, and here we have the resource that we have just created, and this is the user at the moment. It is skillsbuild-youtube. So in case if you want to use any privileges in your Azure Active Directory and you are not a super user or admin, what you need to do, you have to create your own resource. This is the benefit of having Azure Active Directory, that you can create your own resources. I will go back, and from here I'll go to my groups this time. So from here you can create different groups and you can perform different things with your group. I will log out with this account and I will log in again with the one that was my initial account. So to do so, I will just select that account, and that is this one. I will just click on it. So I'm back with the initial account, and this time I'll create a group in here. So I'll just click on groups. So at the moment we do not have any group. I will just create a new one. So I'll just click on new group button. From here I have to set the group type. We only have two types, either security or Microsoft 365. Let's go with security. Then we have to name our group. I will name it as Azure Training, and then we can have group description that you can add anything in here. Then you have membership type. At the moment we have only one option, and that is assign. Here you can set the owner of this group. At the moment no one is owner of this group. Let's select one. So just click on this button, and from here you will have all those users available in here that you have created in your Azure Active Directory. Let's say I want myself to be the owner of this group, and after that we will select the member of this particular group. So for that I will click on members, and again we will have all the users that are part of my Azure Active Directory. I will select all of those and I will add all of them into my Azure Active Directory, and if you scroll down you will have many more of them. So search for any particular one and start adding all of those in your this group, and you are good to go. And now if I just click on create, here we have a message that says successfully created group. Now I will just refresh it, and here you can see we have the group with the name of Azure Training that we have just created. I will just click on it. So here we have all the information about this particular group. I will go back, and that was all about the groups and creating users. Well, it is just like having a company, and in a company we have different groups. The company sets the multiple departments, and it gives the multiple departments the set of permission so that they don't have any kind of overlapping permissions. And for example, if you want to create a group of users who are going to be working only on databases, we can create a group for database manager, and then we can give them the access to only database services. If you want to create a group of users who are going to work only on the source services, then we can give them access. We can create a group for policies for giving them access to services, just like we created the one for database services, and then we will just add the user to those groups. So only those users who have been added to those groups can access the resources or can use those resources. So this is how you can have different resources assigned to different kind of people in different groups. Now here we have all the information about the super user. At the moment, this user have created 3 users. It have 1 group. Application is none at the moment and devices are 0. You can add all those into your Azure Active Directory and you are good to go. Other than that, we have many other services from Azure Active Directory that we can use. For example, if I scroll down, here we have user setting, security, sign-in log, and here we have Azure AD Connect. What it will do? It will synchronize everything in your Azure Active Directory with every user and every group. And if I go into sign-in logs, it will show us all the information about the sign-in of each user. Either that sign-in request was successful or not. As you can see here, we have the time, date, request ID, username, and we also have the status of that user if the attempt to sign in was successful or not. As we have interrupted one as well, we also have the IP addresses and different other information. I'll go back and this time let's check the audit logs. So here we have all the information about last 24 hours. You can change it and you can have the information with a different time frame. You can download it as well and you can export the data settings as well. So how cool it is and how easy it is to use Azure Active Directory and have different resources, or you can create different resources as well. Last but not the least, other than these resources, if you just write here Azure AD, what it will do, it will show you everything related to Azure AD. And as you can see, we have Azure AD Connect Health, domain services, identity protection, secure score, and many other things. So how powerful it is and how vast it is in terms of the features it has. So come here, make your account, have subscription, and enjoy using Azure Active Directory. With that, we are done with today's video. Leave a like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. We will see you with another exciting video. Till then, take care.